Me Micksplain, the Stat 70s controversy and the Hollywood problem. That is right, everybody. I don't often like to jump into stuff like this where I get into controversy. I will cover it because it's happening and we need to. And this right now is the biggest one. Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis, of course, had a very dear friend who kept them off drugs and kept them happy and kept them, I don't know what else. Who knows? This whole thing is just getting worse and worse by the day. But Danny Masterson, convicted rapist. I'm so glad he's convicted and going to jail for 30 years. Horrible, horrible human being. So I am so glad to hear that. But, wasn't glad to hear that? Ashton and Mila. They wrote some letters in defense of their friends. And those letters are so tone deaf. And you can go read them. I'm not going to get into it all here. I'm just going to talk more about the philosophy, or not philosophy, but my feelings on it and my views. There is a Hollywood problem, Paul, and everybody listening. There's a big Hollywood problem that people have not known for years, and it is trapped around power struggle, forcefulness. We see it every day in every aspect of what's coming into movies and stuff like that. It's hard to say it's ever going to go away because nobody's ever going to stop seeing movies, and the only way to cut off this sort of stream is to cut off their money. But there's way too many people involved in moving parts. So really what we should be doing is going after the people. And I'm glad we got a conviction, especially for somebody who was in the Church of Scientology, somebody who did this. Paul's like immediately like, I don't want to be in on this. I don't want to get killed, but you joined the ride, buddy. You're sticking. So
bring it. Let's do it.
Come to the East Coast. Let's find out. Studios. So the problem with Hollywood is, and I saw it myself, and it was very alarming in many ways, like very alarming. I never saw anything up close, but like I would see how people would act, primarily men, but women too, how they would act, how when controversy was happening like this, especially of a sexual nature, it was almost like bro club. Yo, you got to protect our friend. Bro, we got to protect our friend. No, we can't let that happen. We got to fix this. We got to do whatever we can. That shit don't fly, man. That should never fly with me. I have my friends and I am loyal. I'm a loyal friend. But if somebody is my friend and I find out in that time, like one thing I can't stand is like, don't lie to me. Mm-hmm. You lie to me and I can't deal with it. But like, if you are causing trouble or you're causing hurt towards somebody, or it comes out that you really caused some really bad juju everywhere. And like, in this sense, it's not bad juju. He was a rapist and he devastated lives. You are not my friend. There is no loyalty here, because for you to do that means you've been hiding a lot from me. I didn't know this. Now, I don't know if Ashton and Mila knew it. I don't know what they knew. I don't think they knew at the time, but I'm not saying they didn't see things, because it's just stupidity to play that stuff. My problem is Hollywood is shoving this stuff under their ground, especially with the church. I don't know why the Church of Scientology is so powerful in goddamn Hollywood, but whatever. It's just there. But like we've heard stories like this before, like Tom Cruise with his ex-wives and how that's going. And that's and I like Tom Cruise. I think he gets caught up in shit. But I also think like he's a robot for them. And he's, I know they're running, but like, because he's a goddamn robot. So like when I watch this stuff and like watching that apology video from Ashton and Mila, and then seeing that there were like 50 other letters from celebrities trying to ask for leniency and really laying it in thick. Giovanni Ribisi, the parents, although I will say this about the parents in defense of them from that 70s show. Mm-hmm. Their letters read their letters, and only their letters, because I read them all the ones that are available right now. Their letters are the only ones that sound like, well, I've never seen a problem when we were working together, and it was always professional. It was always this, and you always seemed like a really great kid, and we always had good interactions. I get that. I still wouldn't have written a letter. I think it's shitty that you wrote a letter. So I'm wondering like if they wanted to or how that came out. I hope there's a statement or something. But the fact that like even Ashton and Mila are like, well, the family asked us and this, that, and the other thing. It's like, I don't care. Because you know who wouldn't ask you to protect me if I was doing these horrific crimes? My family. Right. They might be sad, and I get that. And I actually sat down and thought about this, having kids of my own and stuff like that. What if they did something and they were facing life in jail or an extended period of time, but they did something horrific? Would I write a letter? Now, hypocritically, yes, I would write a letter. I have to for my kid, but I know what happened, and I'm not gonna write a letter that's like, he's a good kid though. It's just this, that, and the other thing, like this Brock Turner shit when his father did that and all that. That's bullshit. You were wrong. You deserve to be punished. Your Honor, if you think what's best, I'm gonna go with it. But he is my son, and I would love to hold him and have him in my life. But I do know he needs to be punished. That's all. That's all I can say. Mm-hmm. Or even is there any leniency when I go to visit him? Can we embrace each other? Can he be in my life? Can I spend extended periods of time to make sure that during his time of imprisonment, I can still be a father figure and try and help him through this and like change him, you know? And now my kids are 7 and 11, so that's not true. But like as a father, you got to think about this stuff, you know, you got, because like I also have to think about it from the perspective of I don't want my kids doing that for friends.
Right.
I don't want my kids covering up or doing these things because they think that's what friendship is.
Right.
You know, recently we had a guy who, you know, and I'm just call it out here. I don't care, but he's very angry and he's calling us bad friends and all these things. But the fact of the matter is we weren't bad friends. You were a bad friend and there's no accountability towards it. And that's the people I'm trying not to turn my kids into. You need to take accountability. You need to know punishments involved when you mess up. There's consequences, stuff like that. And anyone who calls yourself their friend, calls themselves a father or a mother or any type of person who cares about somebody, when they do something, even if it's a horrific crime, you need to let the accountability take place. There is no covering. I don't know. You are a horrible parent to ask for leniency and say, oh, to not think of the victims,
right?
You know, like, and then that would be the first thing I say to my kids. Like when my kid's gotten in trouble for throwing something at another kid before, you didn't think about the victim. You didn't think about how it hurt. You're worried about the consequences. You're upset about this, that, or the other thing. And I have to give these talks because there's too many shitheads who just want to coast.
Right.
And we see it in Hollywood. And that's the Hollywood problem. You have all these celebrities who are being told all the time, like, you're the best, you're the greatest, you're this, that, and the other thing, you're untouchable, blah, blah, blah. And if you're making people money, even more so. And then you get this. And then you get shithead apologies by Ashton. And even more upset that he has a fucking foundation to help stop trafficking.
Right.
Why is it that these trafficking companies, these organizations seem to have so many pieces of shit running them?
Right.
Is it so they can get closer to women or children?
Right.
We need to knock this shit out. That's the Hollywood problem. That's this controversy. We need to stop talking about Mila and Ashton and Giovanni. You can miss my friend. I don't give a fuck about your friend. Your friend can rot in prison for 30 years because he clearly is not taking accountability. He's clearly not sorry for it. And these victims have suffered.
Right.
And I will tell you what, if I'm asked to write a letter for anybody I care about, I better see some goddamn accountability. I better see some goddamn remorse.
Right.
You ain't getting shit. You ain't my friend when you act like that. And I'm sorry I get so passionate about this, but like I said, I've seen a lot of it. And Matt puts up a good point. It's funny that Topher Grace didn't write anything, and he was the one they isolated. Why do you think? Now, it's funny. I was telling Mary when we were talking about it, my wife, and Lady Manhattan, as I call her. And you see that everyone wrote a letter except for Topher Grace, and he was isolated. He wasn't a part of that club. He never felt like he belonged. Of course he didn't. Of course he didn't, because predators like that immediately target and say, that guy's an outsider. He's going to be a problem. Right. Why do you think he didn't? Not because of the Church of Scientology. Why do you think the Church of Scientology doesn't want anybody doing drugs, any kind of drug? And I'm asking, and please don't take this as like I'm asking to like put you in a gotcha moment, but like I'll tell you straight up, like if you want, but like for me, it's because when you have people that control situations and do things that are horrible, they can't risk having people around them that do drugs. Why? Because drugs can throw you off. You can have addicts. You can have people who mess up. You can have and then they talk because they want this, that, and the other thing. Or maybe they're strung out and now they're saying something. You know, it is, and it's that. And like, it's a cult mentality, which is exactly what Church Scientology is, as I probably get shut down and killed in a few minutes. But it's a cult mentality. And this is a perfect example of what's occurring, and it's occurring on every single level. And what's happening with all the people that leave Scientology and speak out on all these atrocities? They're getting lambasted. Don't fall for it. Don't fall for it. Everyday Americans, everyday people all over the world, don't fall for it. Listen to it, because all that press that's like, well, Lisa Remney's crazy and she does this or this, that, and the other thing, that's coming from Hollywood, that's coming from the media controlled by it, and that's coming from the Church of Scientology because they have power. I'm not saying something just to point fingers. It's true.
Right.
It's the truth. And we need to fix this problem because too many people, especially women and children, are suffering. And that's all I'm going to say about that. It is what it is. Like that is what it is until it gets fixed. But like, it's disgusting. And honestly, my kids love performing. They love being a part of things new. I would never let them go to Hollywood until they're adults.
That's fair.
And if they decide to go, fine. But if they're like me, and I hope I hope they have a good heart. I shouldn't say I hope they're like me. I don't know if I'm live up to that, but I'm just saying, like, if they're think like me, they'll get out, you know? So with that being said, that's let Mick explain. Thanks for watching. Go check out this clip. Go check out the full episode where I sat and talked to Paul in depth about many things, and it was really fun. But we're going to move on to the next one. I am going to say goodbye this time, and I appreciate you, Paul. Thank you so much for joining in.
Thank you again for having me on, Mick.
Yeah, man. So I appreciate it, and we're getting you on again, and I will talk to you real soon. All right, buddy?
Sounds good.
All right. Take care, bud. So we're going to get to the final segment tonight, guys.